All right, let's take a deep dive into Firstsource Solutions. We've got their latest earnings call transcripts, both Q1 and Q2 of fiscal year 25, plus their Q2 results, a recent credit rating report, and a few press releases.
We're talking about a business process services, a BPS powerhouse.
Exactly. And they're seeing impressive growth, even while the market's having some trouble. So what's their secret? How are they using technology, stuff like AI, to stay on top?
And what does it tell us about the future of the whole BPS sector?
Let's start with the numbers. They are really something. Their last quarter, Q2 of FY25, was a massive euro 19.3 billion.
That's $230 million.
25% jump year over year. And it's not just a one-off. This is their fourth quarter in a row with over 3% growth quarter on quarter in constant currency.
It's wild, right? Because initially their guidance for FY25 was 10% to 13% growth in constant currency.
Okay.
Then they bumped that up to 11.5% to 13.5% after Q1. And now, with this Q2 performance, they've revised it again, 19.5 to 20.5%, way beyond what anyone expected.
Clearly, they're doing something right. But where's this growth coming from?
One big thing is their strategy for winning deals. They landed not one, not two, but 3 large deals in both Q1 and Q2. Each one has an annual contract value of over $5 million.
Hold on. For those of us who don't speak finance, what does annual contract value actually mean?
Sure. Annual contract value, or ACV, is basically the yearly revenue from a client contract. So over $5 million ACV. That's serious business, long-term partnerships.
Got it. So these aren't just quick wins. They're locking in major commitments.
Exactly. And they're not just holding on to old clients either. They added 13 new logos in Q2. That's the most they've had in 2 years.
Wow. Expanding their reach, attracting new business even when the market's tough.
And get this, they got a brand new client through a large deal, not just in one quarter, but in both quarters. That says a lot about how their services are hitting the mark.
Impressive. So what kind of deals are we talking about? Give us the specifics.
Think about this. A multi-tower deal with the biggest telecom company in Australia. That's not luck, that's strategy and a strong value proposition.
They didn't stop there, did they?
Nope. A 5-year transformation deal with one of the top 5 U.S. mortgage companies. 5 years. That's commitment.
It certainly is.
Even in healthcare, where things are a bit shaky, they expanded their claims processing for a leading U.S. health insurer.
So they're not afraid to take risks and win in different areas?
Exactly. And they're not just growing organically, they're making some smart acquisitions that are really changing their position in the market.
Let's get into those acquisitions. First, QBSS. They picked that up in Q1. What was the strategy there?
Brilliant move for healthcare. QBSS specializes in revenue cycle management, RCM, mainly for healthcare providers in the offshore market. This move boosts Firstsource's presence in a fast-growing segment.
So they're not just offering the same old services, they're adding specialized expertise.
Right. And it's a smart way to compete with the big guys in healthcare RCM. Then in September, they acquired Ascensos. And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears. What does the census bring to the table?
High growth, retail e-commerce. Ascensos gives Firstsource a boost in those areas, adds some iconic UK retail brands to their clients, and expands their nearshore capabilities.
So they're diversifying both geographically and in terms of what they offer to tap into these new markets.
And don't forget the multilingual capabilities that Ascensos has. That means Firstsource can work with even more global clients, expanding their reach and grabbing a bigger piece of the market share.
It's a multi-pronged approach to growth, and it looks like it's working. But all of this expansion, that takes a lot of planning and execution. How are they handling their capacity with all these new clients and services coming in?
That's a great question. They're investing a lot in expanding their infrastructure. Just in Q2, they added more capacity in Chennai, Hyderabad, the Philippines, and Mexico.
So they're making sure they have the resources to deliver on those promises and keep up with this fast growth.
Exactly. They're not just winning deals, they're building the foundation to support their ambitious expansion plans.
It all sounds very promising. But what about the people behind this success? Any key changes in management that are helping them do so well?
Definitely. In Q1, they got a new global COO, really focusing on stronger leadership and making sure their operations are efficient. And they formed a customer advisory board with experienced people from the industry.
So bringing in fresh perspectives and guidance to help them navigate this complex market.
Shows they're not settling, always looking for ways to improve their operations and stay ahead.
And what's the financial world saying about all this? Are investors and credit rating agencies impressed with Firstsource's performance?
Let's look at that September 2024 credit rating report from CRISIL. They reaffirmed Firstsource's Crystal A plus stable Crystal A1 ratings. That basically means they're in great shape financially.
So the experts approve.
Yes. The report highlighted their strong points, like their market position, diverse revenue streams, and good liquidity.
That's reassuring. Were there any concerns?
They did point out that Firstsource's revenue is very concentrated in a few locations and a few key customers. So if something changes with those clients or in those regions, they could be vulnerable.
That makes sense. Shows how important it is that they keep diversifying their portfolio and expanding into new markets.
Exactly. And that's where their acquisitions and focus on high-growth areas like retail and e-commerce are really important.
Seems like Firstsource is playing it smart, recognizing both their strengths and potential weaknesses.
Now let's talk tech. Specifically how Firstsource is using AI and automation, that's really setting them apart in the BPS world.
This is where it gets exciting. They're putting AI and automation into their work and what they offer, and it's not just talk. They're seeing real results.
Right. Remember that mortgage-specific large language model and the AI-powered digital collections platform we discussed earlier?
Yes, those were really interesting.
Those are game changers, completely transforming how these services work.
It's like they're giving these traditional processes a shot of digital energy.
And it benefits both their clients and their bottom line.
Their partnership with Microsoft, using those Azure OpenAI services, that's a big deal. It gives them access to cutting-edge AI technology and experts.
And then there's Real AI, their own suite of AI tools designed for responsible digital transformation. They're not just jumping on the AI bandwagon, they're committed to using it ethically and responsibly.
So it's not just about automation for automation's sake. It's about creating smarter, more efficient solutions that are more focused on the customer.
Exactly. And being responsible about AI isn't just ethical, it's good business. Clients want to work with companies that share their values and prioritize doing AI the right way.
It's what sets them apart.
Now let's dive into how Firstsource is doing across different sectors. It'll give us a better understanding of their strategy and where they're finding the most success.
Sounds good. Which sector is leading the pack?
Healthcare is a big winner, with the payer segment doing really well. Their strategy of focusing on key accounts in this sector is clearly working.
What about the mortgage market? We know it's been up and down lately, but Firstsource seems to be handling it pretty well.
They are. Their focus on keeping costs down and using those innovative AI solutions, that's giving them an edge, even when the market is tough.
Like they're turning challenges into opportunities.
Exactly. They're not just sticking to healthcare and mortgages either. The CMT vertical, which includes telecom and media, ed tech, and consumer tech, is also growing nicely.
So they're spreading their reach and tailoring their services to specific niches within those sectors.
Precisely. And we can't forget about banking and financial services, or BFS. Firstsource expects continued growth there, and they already have 5 new logos just from Q2.
5 in 1 quarter. That's a real sign they can attract new clients, even with competition.
And it's not just about new clients. Their existing BFS clients are asking for more of their services. That shows strong relationships and that there's a real demand for what they're offering.
Like they've figured out the secret to success in that sector. How does all this compare to what they initially projected for FY25?
Remember, their initial guidance was 10% to 13% growth in constant currency.
Right, which they blew past.
Exactly. After Q1, they raised it to 11.5%, 13.5%. And now, after another strong quarter, they've set the bar even higher, 19.5, 20.5%.
Constantly exceeding expectations.
It shows that they're not just reacting to the market, they're shaping the future of the BPS world.
And they're using AI to speed up that transformation.
Let's look closer at how they're implementing AI and what makes their approach unique. Those specific examples we discussed earlier, remember?
The mortgage model and the AI collections platform.
Yeah. These aren't just small improvements, they're fundamental changes in how these services are delivered.
Like giving old processes a jolt of digital energy.
And they're doing it while emphasizing responsible AI.
Which is so important in healthcare and finance, where data privacy and ethical concerns are really big deals.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance, using AI's power while making sure it's used ethically and responsibly.
And it seems like Firstsource is managing that balance well.
They are. Being committed to responsible AI is not just the right thing to do, it's good for business. It attracts clients who believe in the same values, clients who want a partner they can trust.
It's becoming a major selling point.
So, considering everything, what do you think about Firstsource's future?
Things look pretty bright. Their financial performance, their smart acquisitions, and how they're using technology all point to them being a leader in the BPS industry.
But let's not forget that credit rating report, the risk of being too reliant on certain clients and locations.
Right, that's something to watch. Even though they're diversifying, it's something they need to pay attention to.
Agreed. While they're doing great, the BPS market is always changing. Staying on top means being flexible, constantly innovating, and deeply understanding what clients need as those needs evolve.
Well, based on what we've seen, it looks like they have what it takes.
If you're interested in hearing directly from the company about their vision and plans, check out those earnings call transcripts. They're full of insights into how Firstsource is handling the challenges and opportunities in the BPS world.
Great tip. Those transcripts really give you a look into the minds of the people behind their success. But for now, let's take a moment to think about everything we've discussed. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with some final thoughts and a question to leave you thinking. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We've been digging into Firstsource's impressive journey, from their strong financial performance to those strategic acquisitions and how they're using AI.
It's remarkable how they're using AI not just for automation, but to create truly innovative solutions.
Their approach to AI, that's a big part of what sets them apart. But before we get too deep into that, let's go back to that credit rating report. It mentioned a potential weakness, how they rely on a few big clients in specific geographic areas.
Right, that's important. It's like they've built their business on a few pillars. If one weakens, the whole thing could be in trouble.
So how is Firstsource handling that risk?
Their acquisitions, particularly Ascensos, that's a big part of the answer. By getting into new areas like retail and e-commerce, they're spreading out their income streams. Less dependence on any one client or region.
So they're building a wider, more stable base for their business, making it less vulnerable to market swings?
Exactly. And if you look at how they're doing in different sectors, it's clear they're making strategic moves to expand their reach.
Let's break down the sectors. We know healthcare is a big growth area for them, but what's driving that?
Their payer segment is really knocking it out of the park, and focusing on key accounts in healthcare is paying off. They're not just trying to be everything to everyone, they're building strong relationships with the major players.
And they're not just maintaining those relationships, they're actively expanding their services. Like that deal, they got to do more claims processing for that big U.S. health insurer, right?
Exactly. It shows how they're growing within their existing clients by giving them valuable solutions that actually meet their changing needs.
Okay, now let's talk about the mortgage market. It's been a bit unpredictable lately, so how's Firstsource doing there?
They're not shying away. They're actually gaining market share, using their expertise in cost optimization and, of course, those AI-powered solutions.
Turning a potential problem into a strategic advantage? I like it.
Right. Their mortgage-specific language model, for example, that's streamlining loan applications, probably making processing times much shorter. That efficiency gives them an edge in a market where speed and accuracy are essential.
It's not just about cutting costs, it's about making things smoother and easier for customers.
And that's a theme in their overall approach. Using AI not just to automate, but to make the customer experience better, more personalized.
We should also mention the CMT vertical, which includes telecom and media, ed tech, and consumer tech. Each of those segments offers unique growth opportunities, and Firstsource seems to be taking advantage of them.
They're adapting their services to fit the specific needs of each niche, showing they're flexible and adaptable.
Then there's banking and financial services, BFS. They got 5 new logos in that sector in just Q2. Looks like there's a real demand for what they're offering.
And the clients they already have in BFS are giving them more business, which says a lot about the trust and value they deliver. In that sector, reputation and reliability are everything, and it looks like Firstsource has both.
It's impressive how they're consistently growing across so many different areas. That's not just luck, that's planning and execution.
And they're exceeding their own expectations. Remember how they had to revise their FY25 growth guidance several times?
They're setting the bar higher and higher.
It's not just about reacting, it's about shaping the future of BPS.
And using AI to accelerate that change.
Exactly. But with all this rapid growth, how are they managing it? Can they keep up with demand and still deliver quality?
That's where their investments in capacity expansion come in. They're adding resources in key places like Chennai, Hyderabad, the Philippines, and Mexico, making sure they can keep their promises to clients.
It's like building the infrastructure for a bigger global business.
Exactly. It's not growth for growth's sake. They're preparing for sustainable success.
Now, coming back to AI. We've talked about examples, but what's their overall philosophy for integrating AI into their work and what they offer?
They're being very deliberate and responsible, recognizing that AI has huge potential, but also requires careful consideration.
Right. Their Re-AI suite of
Mhm.
AI tools, that really highlights their focus on doing AI the right way. It's not just about automation, it's about using AI to make people better at their jobs and create more equitable, sustainable solutions.
And their partnership with Microsoft using Azure OpenAI services, that strengthens their AI capabilities. Access to cutting-edge technology and expert knowledge. They're not just testing the AI waters, they're diving in with a clear plan and a commitment to doing it ethically.
And that's what separates them from all the other companies out there claiming to be AI powered.
They're showing real results, proving that AI can create real value for clients and lead to meaningful change in the BPS sector.
Firstsource isn't just surviving in a tough market, they're thriving.
They're a great example of how to succeed in the digital age. Strategic vision, technological skill, and a deep understanding of the human element.
They're setting the bar high for everyone else in the industry.
But as we move towards wrapping up this deep dive, let's think about the bigger picture. What does Firstsource's success tell us about what the future holds for work in the BPS sector? And what can other companies learn from them? Stay tuned. We'll be back to explore these questions. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey with Firstsource Solutions, haven't we? Exploring their impressive growth, their strategic acquisitions, and how boldly they're integrating AI.
They're not just along for the ride with digital transformation, they're really driving it.
But as we wrap up, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. What does Firstsource's success story tell us about the future of work in the business process services sector?
Their use of AI, it definitely makes you think, will automation take away jobs? Or will it create new ones?
It's a big question with no easy answers. Lots of people are debating it. But I think Firstsource's approach is interesting. They're not just automating to be more efficient. They're using AI to enhance what people can do to create more sophisticated solutions.
Like their mortgage language model. It's not just about processing loans faster. It's about freeing up employees so they can focus on the more complex parts of the process, the things that require a human touch.
So instead of replacing workers, AI is giving them the tools to take on more challenging roles that require creativity, critical thinking, and those people skills.
And don't forget, there are all these new jobs being created in AI development, data science, ethical AI implementation. These are roles that barely existed a few years ago, and they're in high demand.
It reminds us that technology changes the job market, but it also opens up new avenues for growth and innovation.
And companies that embrace this change, like Firstsource, are likely to be the ones that succeed in the long run.
But it's not enough to just use new technology. You have to invest in your employees and help them adapt to this new environment.
And Firstsource seems to get that. Forming that customer advisory board with industry veterans shows they're serious about staying ahead and anticipating what's coming next.
Smart move. Learning from those who've seen the industry change over time, that can give you invaluable insights and direction.
And they're not just relying on outside experts, they're also bolstering their internal leadership, appointing a new global COO, focusing on efficiency and strategic execution.
It's like a two-pronged approach, getting fresh ideas from the outside while also giving their internal team the power to lead.
And their dedication to using AI responsibly, that's huge. As AI becomes more common in the BPS sector, fairness, transparency, and accountability are going to be crucial.
It's not just about profits, it's about shaping a future of work that benefits both businesses and employees.
Firstsource's journey is a great example of how to navigate the digital age. They've proven that success comes from strategic vision, technological expertise, and a deep understanding of the human element.
It's been fascinating to dive deep into their story. They've given us a lot to think about, especially when it comes to future of work in the BPS sector. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We hope you found this exploration insightful and maybe even inspiring for your own journey in this ever-changing world.